So in our last video, we profiled leaving the Bahamas for the quick jaunt over to the St. Lucie Inlet in Florida. We left early in the morning, had a beautiful trip. The real fun didn't start until we left Stuart, Florida, up the Intracoastal and around Fort Pierce. Ran into some trouble and had to get towed into a dock at Vero Beach. It turned out to be a disc damper plate, and Justin from Costas Marine fixed us up in just a few days. In this video, we take advantage of the downtime in Vero to do some much needed maintenance for our water maker, and we sustained some damage in a hailstorm, take care of a cooler refrigeration issue, and also upgrade our solar panels. Have you ever dreamed of selling it all and cruising into the sunset? Well, that's exactly what we did. It's no fun going it alone though, so why don't you join us for the ride?
So they say when your courtesy flag gets tattered and torn and faded, you know it's time to leave the Bahamas. Well, after about 90 days, that's what ours looks like.
So I had some questions after our last video, and I might not have been very clear, but we did get our transmission fixed in just a little over a week, which is pretty amazing. And as far as that goes, we are good to go. I guess technically it might not be called the transmission. It was the plates between the engine and the transmission that connect the two.
Here we are in Vero Beach, Florida. Beautiful day, probably 82 degrees. Just took poor Pancake to the vet. I think she's good. And we're doing some shopping, Publix. Well, actually, we got a whole bunch of crap waiting for the bus, because that's what cruisers do. And there's a free bus here in Vero that takes you to a whole bunch of places. So definitely a great little town, not too crowded. And free bus. Can't beat it.
We were actually staying in the Vero Municipal Marina, and the bus has actually 2 stops within the marina itself. So really convenient. Saw this warning sign at the marina. Never saw any crabs, never saw any holes, so not really sure what it's all about, but it's gotta be something. So despite the killer crabs, the marina has some great rates, very large protected mooring field, a number of docks, and all the services that you want for cruising, and obviously the bus, as I mentioned, and it's real close to the beaches.
So now that we're back in the States, in this murky intercoastal water, we're not going to be making water from seawater anymore, so we have to preserve our water maker. And to do that, it's actually called pickling, and it's pretty easy for ours. We basically have to put in this filter canister and run it in recirculation mode, and that basically preserves it. I guess if you leave seawater in it, bacteria can grow, and it's just a real mess, and it will ruin your membrane that does the reverse osmosis. So that's what we're doing. So it's pretty tight in this forward compartment here. Here's the water maker we have, the little wonder. This is the membrane part, the high pressure. That's the pump there that forces the salt water through. And this here's the pre-filter, and we have to take this out and put the cleaning cartridge in. So that's what we'll do. Basically using this little tool here, we'll put it around it, lefty-loosey, take it off without making too much mess. So I took it out, and we didn't make water too much there, maybe, I don't know, 20-30 gallons, but this is the pre-filter cartridge. Doesn't look too dirty, actually, but I have a whole bunch of these, so we'll get rid of this for this season. Put the cleaning cartridge in this thing, And then I have to fill it with non-chlorinated water, which we have some from the Bahamas in these jugs, so that'll be easy to do, because I guess chlorine messes with that membrane in the pump and ruins it, so we don't want to pay for a new membrane. So we'll put some cleaning cartridge in, and this cleaning cartridge and the non-chlorinated water. So I screwed this back in, hand tightened it, righty-tighty, should be good. That's the cleaning cartridge. See, it says chemical number 3 on it. I think you can buy a powdered form, but this is just the easier way to do it. And then on the pump here, you keep the pressure off, and then you turn this to the cleaning, or rather recirculating position. So it just recirculates through the clean here and back over, around and around through this pump, this membrane here. And we have to do that for 30 minutes, and then it is known as pickled. They say it can last for about 4 months, then you have to do it again for preservative, but I know people that, you know, leave it for a year and it's just fine. So that's what we're gonna do. We hit our water maker switch here on the panel. We're gonna let this run for 30 minutes.
So it's never all work and no play on island time. So we headed over to Waldo's by the Sea, kind of a bar restaurant at the Driftwood Resort. Very cool little place. And you're greeted by a quaint little art gallery as you enter the resort. Both the Driftwood and Waldo's have been around forever, and it is located directly on Vero Beach, so you cannot beat the location and the views. There's a nice pool for guests and probably a few drunk patrons, but overall it's a pretty neat place with great views and really good food. Later on that day, we were back at the Marina, and there were some storms forecasted to come in from the north, and I at some point caught a glimpse of these clouds, which I thought were pretty interesting and proved to be a little bit more ominous than I expected. We had gusts to 70 miles an hour and shit started to fly. At this point, Lori and Pancake were hiding below in one of the cabins.
That's hail dropping everywhere. Nice. Well, the storm just came through, dropped some hail. We did okay, except our front of our enclosure here, the isinglass, which is not really isinglass, it's polycarbonate. It's brittle anyhow, but it cracked. We did not have it down. The wind came from behind and whipped it down and broke it. So that is what it is. Looks like the flagpole back there above the marina is tilted sideways. This guy lost his bimini right here behind us. I could see a sailboat out there with the sail, one of the stay sails flapping. Looks like our friends on Harvest Moon out there lost their bimini. It was a shitty little storm, came through quick, like nothing, not predicted. So, well, no, I couldn't say. I guess it's predicted a severe thunderstorm, I should say. But in our dinghy here, we've got about 5 inches of water. I'm draining it right now, and it was ice cold, probably from all the hail. So, luckily we're okay. Just checking up on the fly bridge here. Hail remnants. Looks like our bimini is okay, but everything else took a beating. So crazy on the fly bridge here. The amount of hail. Can make a snowball with this. These are the kind of breakfast that my wife makes me. Oh my god. Like, it's like an eggs benedicty kind of thing. Except it's got bacon, avocado. Yeah. That's why I can't lose the COVID-20. Hey, where are we off to?
We are off to the Riverside Cafe.
For what?
Cafe Cinco de Mayo.
Wow. So, ooh, look at this Cinco de Mayo outfit. I dream of Jeannie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're going for drinks and dinner. Hopefully there's a band playing tonight and Friday night. So.
In lovely Vero Beach.
Yeah, Vero Beach still. And hopefully we'll have some fun.
You look beautiful in front of this Northern 86-foot yacht.
I wouldn't mind being on that Northern yacht.
No.
I like my little boat.
Why would you? So the project at hand is we're going to replace these two solar panels here. They are 210 each, so 420 watts total. And the new ones are 370 each, so that is 740 watts total. So first we have to remove these existing ones and then put new framework up. And then we're going to go with the new solar panels on the new framework. So to attach the existing panels, I use these El Cheapo neoprene pipe, 1-inch pipe connectors, and they have worked great. So I just have to remove them, and I'll use them or reuse them on the new solar panels. So we got two solar panels down. We got the new framework up. It's going out kind of parallel to the boat, and we got one new solar panel up. It's looking good. It's just sitting there though. I have to screw it in, but so far so good. Just lining everything up when everything's kind of out of whack, and I don't really have a framer square, but I don't think it really matters. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can see this like middle two chrome pieces straight on the line of the solar panel. It's good enough.
Here's what it looks like with the two new 370 watt panels in place.
So here's the electrical panel, and we have a single controller here, Victron, 100 volts, 30 amps, and we want to install another one to control the second panel. So I've got to make some room in here to fit it underneath it, move a few things around.
And this is what it looks like when I asked Lori to do some filming of me wiring.
So I'm in the back cabinet with the inverter, Victron Multiplus inverter, and right behind it is the battery switch for the house batteries, and on the left side is the battery side, and then the right side goes to the electrical panel. And what I have up there is an 80 amp circuit breaker with a yellow prong on it, and it's already connected. You can see on one side that is connected to the house side, actually to the electrical panel now, to the not electrical panel, to a bus where the two solar controllers are. It comes to here and it goes to this circuit breaker, and now I'll connect that bottom pole in the circuit breaker over to the battery side of the battery bank, or the battery switch. So here's the finished job with that cable that I had made. It is here, and it comes up there and connects to the battery right there. On the battery side. And the yellow lever says the circuit is open right now, so there's no power going through it. Now we just have to hook up to the bus and electrical panel. We're good to go. So just doing the final hookup. This was the existing solar controller that I just moved up, and then I put this one in sideways. I connected the output power there to a small bus, and then this cable here from the bus, it's much thicker, and it goes back to the circuit breaker near the battery, that 80 amp circuit breaker. Max this cable probably carry is 60 amps, 30, because each controller only can put out 30 amps. So that's the deal. Just put this cover back on here and tidy a few things up. We're ready to go.
So for some of you that might have been a little bit long and boring, but I wanted to give you an idea of what it takes to install solar panels and a little bit of what the wiring is all about. Next video should be a little bit more fun. Thanks for tuning in, and please subscribe if you like what you saw.